Welcome to the Family International. The Family International is a Christian and missionary fellowship dedicated to sharing God's Word and love with others.
Of all the cult leaders, it would be hard to find a bigger egomaniac than David Berg. His cult, the Children of God, which he founded in 1968, ended up mirroring his own worst narcissistic characteristics.
A few minutes after 8 a.m. on Sunday morning, our patrol officers got a call that there was a body here at the Palo Verde Irrigation District located inside a vehicle. It's a very sad story, and if half of what they say occurred happened, it needs to be hopefully looked into and get this abuse stopped.
Some examples of David Berg's narcissistic personality disorder. He certainly had grandiose feelings. I mean, he felt that he was called by God as God's end-time prophet. He was predicting the end of the world numerous times. He was certainly obsessed with fantasies of unlimited success and fame.
For those born into Berg's cult, they had no choice but to follow his idealism.
David Berg often said that he was the only one with the wisdom. He was the only one who could interpret biblical prophecy. He was the last prophet of the end.
Berg created his own Bible in order to spread the idea of promiscuity.
He was involved in all kind of sexual deviancy.
Prostitution, he sold it as flirty fishing. He was the fisher. The women were the bait with the hook, and these lonely men, lots of money for the fish.
Berg's idealism began to catch on. As the membership grew, shockingly, Berg removed the age limit for sexual partners.
I got in contact with my sister. Well, I consider her my sister because to me she is. She's not flesh and blood. But talking about Davida, she calls me sometimes and we talk. And tells me the stuff she's going through. And it just breaks my heart, because I want to help her, but there's nothing I can do because it's all up here, the damage has been done.
David Berg frowned upon conventional families, and Rick was raised by a coterie of female acolytes, along with a baby girl called Davida. The pair grew up almost as brother and sister. As the family's patriarch continued to break sexual and religious taboos, Rick and Davida became his latest playthings.
Growing up as a kid, I remember everything revolved in our lives around religion and sex.
I'm sorry,
2 months after Rick Rodriguez recorded his video, friends are holding his memorial. Like Rick, many of them were raised in a bizarre Christian sect who practiced free love.
We're here to say goodbye to a friend that we had, somebody who need not have passed the way that he did.
Like Rick, many of the mourners say they were abused in the cult. Originally called the Children of God, it followed a radical religious and sexual philosophy they named the Law of Love.
The Library of Santa Barbara has an entire collection of the cult's doctrine and teachings. But we're told because the crimes were committed overseas that they are untouchable. We're also told that the statute of limitations is expired. So I'm not...
On child rape?
Yes, it's shocking.
circumstances of Ricky's passing are very tragic and uncharacteristic of Ricky as a person. Ricky would want this memorial, his memorial, to be a celebration of life, not a celebration of death.
It was actually very common in the family for the adult women to have sexual relations with young boys. The women not only had sexual relationships with the young boys, they were also facilitators. They also gave their children to the men.
They expected us to have some interaction between ourselves with the intent that we would get married, and become the future heirs to the throne, so to speak, meaning that we would be the next future leaders, with the next gurus, the next David Berg and the next Karen Zerby of our time.
Greetings and Merry Christmas. For those of you who aren't personally acquainted with us, my name is Steve Kelly, and this is my wife, Karen Zerby.
Berg's vision seems divinely inspired. What else but sex could save souls and feel so good all at the same time? Flirty fishing is the name Berg gives this new path to salvation. Later, Berg will call this missionary work simply FFing.
My pretty little fishes, would you do anything for Jesus to help your fishermen catch souls, even suffer the crucifixion of the hook or the danger of the trap? Think it over. How far would you go? All the way?
One night, in the night, Dad had a revelation. He saw across in front of his eyes, these red letters that said Tenerife. He went and he got him, an atlas, and he looked it up, and it was in the Canary Islands. And he knew then the Lord wanted him to go there. And while they were at the hotel, there was a lot of the different waiters and different people there that they started getting close to, and Dad felt led to, he wanted to witness to them, and they had been FFing in England, so they started FFing some of these guys. In time, they needed some help, so they started bringing a couple other girls to help out. Eventually, I think there was about 20 or 25 girls there, and they would go out with Dad every night. They were there, I guess, about a year, and it started to become pretty big news. This particular club started to have a lot of people come to it. People heard about it in Scandinavia and Germany, and people were flying there to see about these girls who made love to men and told them about Jesus.
What about these, fucking perverts? Aren't they the real terrorists? Terrorizing little kids? Driving them to suicide? Isn't that like murdering them, basically? You fuck with their mind so much that they can't go on? They really can't go on. Isn't that like killing them? I don't know though. One of these fuckers to the head.
Hundreds of thousands of people met the Lord that way. And I'm pretty convinced that when we get to heaven, and those people are in heaven, we're not going to be hanging our head in shame that we FF those people into heaven. I think those people are going to come and kneel down and say, thank you for doing it.
On behalf of the Family International, we wish you and your loved ones a truly joyous Christmas. Merry Christmas.